Hello Dungeon fans, it's Kevin from Level 9. This video is going out to all my monsters who watch me on YouTube. First up, thank you, love you, thank you so much for watching. Second, I have news. Alright, you may have noticed that I've been doing a lot of intro videos for my Pathfinder and Apocrypha. I really love doing them, it's fun. I also started doing intro videos for this awesome show on Twitch called Drunks and Dragons. But they started taking up a lot of my time. And I had this thought, well, what if I did these videos live? How much fun would that be? So I took over Friday nights in the Liching Hour to do these videos live. I've been having a lot of fun with it. I'm going to keep it going. This show, though, is completely live. I'm not planning on ripping it and putting it on YouTube. So if you want to come check me out live, that'd be awesome. You can heckle me or give me ideas. It'd be awesome. But Friday nights are for that show now. Saturdays, that meant I don't have a home for Pathfinder, so Saturdays is going to be Pathfinder / Apocrypha every other. So this weekend I did Apocrypha, next weekend I'm going to do Pathfinder, and so on and so forth. That means I won't be putting 2 videos out a week, just one. That's what's been happening the last couple weeks, if you've noticed that I haven't been putting up both videos every week. I'm naming the shows now. That show is going to be called Tales from the Dungeon on Saturday nights. Tales from the Dungeon featuring Apocrypha, featuring a Pathfinder, etc. On Fridays, it's Pogli and Blory's Video Fun Time. It's a long story. Tune in to check out why it's called that. And then I have new news. I'm going to start a new show at the beginning of next year. That show is going to be called Viva La Dungeon. By the way, the Liching Hour is still the channel. These are just the shows within the Liching Hour. Viva La Dungeon is going to be a little different than what I've been doing, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's a little more like a variety kind of show, in a sense. I've met a lot of awesome people in the last couple of years doing this, and a lot of people who really enjoy role-playing and playing like 5th edition and stuff, but they have no idea of all the cool indie games that are out there. Like, if you don't know or have never heard of Apocalypse World, and how it's spawned its own subgenre of games and all the cool games that work off that system, then I would love the honor of introducing it to you. And so one big segment of Viva La Dungeon is going to be introducing people to indie games, indie role-playing and storytelling games, which are my jam. And like, for example, the very first one I'm going to do in my very first, the inaugural episode is going to be an award-winning one that came out last year called Dialect. Dialect's awesome. It's a game about language and how it dies. Sounds pretty interesting, doesn't it? So what I'm going to do is not going to be a review. I don't really like reviewing things. What I'm going to do is just kind of talk passionately about the cool parts of this game that make it a cool game. The second segment for Viva La Dungeon is going to focus on a game I've been working on. I'm an amateur role-playing game or storytelling game maker, and I've been developing for the last couple of years a game called Star Jumpers. It's a sci-fi role-playing game for children. I want to kickstart it later next year, and I think I'm going to use this segment as a way to kind of chronicle my journey from where I'm at now until I kickstart it. The third segment is going to feature Dungeon Crawl Classics for the first season. Dungeon Crawl Classics is an underrated little fantasy game. I don't want to say little. It's not little, but it's underrated, and the adventures that they put out are special. And they're special because it's an old school format. If anybody who's bought an old school D&D adventure, they're more like those, except the art's really gonzo and cool, and the adventures are really crazy and weird fantasy and awesome. And they haven't started making these huge, like 5th edition does the huge books and that kind of stuff. These are still single adventures kind of things, and they're really cool. And what I want to do is every week I'm going to feature a new one. Okay, I'm going to do a little twist though. I don't know if you watched my older videos where I used Dungeon Crawl Classics as a narrative device, just like I do with Apocrypha and Pathfinder. But I'm not going to go that far. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to steal a couple things that I did before, and I'm going to have a little story that goes along just for the segment and touches on each one of the adventures that I'm showing you. Just kind of a tether to kind of tie these things together. So that's cool. And then finally, the fourth thing, I don't know if you noticed, those of you that watch Pathfinder Adventure Card Game, the last couple episodes haven't featured in Dungeon News. That was kind of on purpose. I've been struggling to find the right home for In Dungeon News. in the live stuff. And on YouTube, it makes sense to maybe just do the little clips. But after figuring out what I want to do with Viva La Dungeon, that seems like the perfect home for the Lich. And he needs his platform to give the monsters the news, all right? And I don't intend on stopping him or not doing that anymore. So the live show of Viva La Dungeon is going to feature, the first one's going to feature the very first season 2 episode of In Dungeon News. And then from there out, we'll just run In Dungeon News halfway point between in the episodes. So that's where you're going to catch In Dungeon News. I'm not going to put it in Pathfinder anymore. And I'm sorry if you're mad at me about that. Put it in the comments below, and maybe you can make a difference. If you have any comments, any questions, please put them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. One last thing. I'm going to be putting together a contest for viewers for the live show to win a copy of Dungeon Crawl Classics. So stay tuned here to find out when I'm actually launching in the beginning of next year. All right? Viva La Dungeon!